Lara knew the moment Deo rolled over in bed. Something in the air shifted. It was past midnight, and her phone had just vibrated for the third time beneath her pillow. She quickly turned it over and typed a reply, but she was too late. Deo was already sitting up, watching her in the dim blue glow of the screen. "Who keeps texting you at this time?" His voice was low, groggy, but edged with suspicion. She hesitated, then forced a casual smile. "Tony. He's going through it again. Maya broke up with him again." Deo didn't answer immediately. His eyes stayed on her, watching not just her words but the way she clutched the phone tighter, the way her thumb hovered over the keyboard as if she was debating another message. "He always seems to need you when I need you too," Deo finally said. "Don't you think that's strange?" Lara's heart stuttered. "It's not like that. He's my best friend. We've known each other since uni." Deo didn't say more. He turned away and lay back down, but the silence between them grew heavier than his silence ever had. Lara stared at the screen. "You up?" Tony had texted, followed by, "Wish you were here. Need to hear your voice." The lie wasn't that Tony needed comfort. The lie was that he wanted her more than the comfort. Tony wasn't the only one. There was also Deji, the charming joker in their circle. The one who always called her "my heartbeat" in front of Deo and laughed it off as a joke. Who gave her foot rubs on movie nights and sent her good morning texts before Deo even stirred awake. Deji had no filter. He flirted with her like it was sport, and Lara laughed because pretending it meant nothing made it feel less dangerous. But deep down she knew what she was doing. She enjoyed the attention. Enjoyed being the center of two men's gravity even while wrapped in the arms of another. It wasn't about sex. Not yet. It was the thrill. The tiny pulse of something forbidden each time Tony called her babe, or Deji leaned too close when no one was looking. And yet it never felt like cheating. Till now. Later that night, Lara stood in the kitchen in nothing but her oversized tea, staring at the kettle as it boiled. She picked up her phone. Another message from Tony. "You know, if we dated instead, I don't think I'd ever risk losing you." Lara's thumb hovered over the reply button. She knew what she should do. Delete it, block him, go back to bed and hold Deo until the guilt melted away. Instead she typed back, "Stop saying things like that." Tony replied instantly, "But I mean it. And a part of you likes it." She didn't respond. But she didn't stop smiling either. Lara sat at her favorite coffee shop 2 days later, facing Tony across the small wooden table that still bore the scratches from years of college study dates. The smell of espresso floated between them, familiar, nostalgic, almost dangerous. "Did he ask about me again?" Tony asked, sipping his latte. She gave a dry laugh. "You know he doesn't like you." "Correction, he doesn't trust me. And he's right not to." His gaze held hers for a beat too long. "I wouldn't trust me either if I were him." Lara's stomach tightened, heat crawling up her chest. She looked down, stirring her coffee even though she wasn't adding anything. "Tony, don't start." "I'm not starting. I'm continuing what's always been there." She looked up sharply, heart thudding. "You're my best friend." "Yeah," he whispered. "But I've also dreamt of kissing you since 300 level. Don't pretend you didn't feel it that night at Ife's party. The way you looked at me." Lara remembered. God, she remembered. That night, after too many shots, they had danced too closely. His hands on her waist had lingered. Their lips had hovered, barely apart. But she had pulled away at the last second, blaming the alcohol, blaming the music, blaming the room. And Tony never brought it up again until now. Back at home, Deo was making dinner. He wore her apron, his back to the door, humming to himself. For a moment Lara paused, watching the man she claimed to love. His ease, his warmth, his goodness. And yet, her thoughts were still tangled in Tony's words. She stepped in and kissed Deo's neck from behind. He smiled. "You're in a good mood." She wrapped her arms around him, tighter than usual, as if that could push out the guilt. "Just missed you." "Lara," he said suddenly, turning around. Can I ask you something? Her heart skipped. Do you think we're enough for each other? Hit her like ice. What? He shrugged, trying to play it off. You and Tony. You and Deji. Sometimes I feel like I'm just your boyfriend on paper, but emotionally, you've already built a home in their arms. Lara swallowed hard. That's not fair. I'm not angry, he said softly. I just see it. The way you light up when they call. The way you talk about them. I know men, Lara. We're not that subtle. She felt exposed like glass cracking under pressure. I would never cheat on you, she whispered. But would you leave the door open if they walked in? He asked. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Because somewhere deep down, part of her wanted to know what it would feel like to say yes. Later that night, Tony posted a story. A song they used to dance to in university, captioned, "Some feelings don't go away." She watched it 3 times before putting her phone face down. But the heat between her thighs pulsed with the truth. She was playing with fire. And deep down, she wanted to burn. Lara had always thought Deji was safe. Tony was the obvious temptation. Bold, flirty, daring, but Deji? He was the sweet one. The dependable one. Her prayer partner when her father was sick. The one who showed up at her boutique with lunch and called her queen. But even kings get jealous. And that day, Deji's crown slipped. She was at his apartment, curled on the couch watching an old Nollywood classic, her head on his shoulder, legs tucked under her. It was innocent, or so she told herself. Just friends watching a movie like they always did. Until Deji paused the movie. You're glowing lately, he said, eyes scanning her face. Deo treating you better? She shrugged. Some days are good. Some days are cloudy. Deji turned toward her, his fingers brushing a strand of her braids behind her ear. You know, I always wonder how he got you before I did. Lara stiffened. Don't start. I mean it, he murmured. I was there through it all. Your heartbreaks, your doubts, even the abortion. But somehow, I ended up watching another man reap the heart I helped nurture. Deji, stop. He didn't. His voice was low now, almost trembling. You've sat in this exact spot 100 times. You've cried on this chest, laughed in this room. Tell me you've never imagined it, me instead of him. Lara sat up, heart pounding. You're my friend. I'm a man, he said, voice deepening. A man who's been in love with you for 4 years. She grabbed her bag. I need to go. Deji stood, blocking her. Not touching. Just standing close enough that his cologne clouded her senses. Do you even love him? Or do you just love that he's yours? She couldn't finish the sentence. Thought so. She slipped past him and bolted out into the hallway, pulse racing, shame crawling up her spine. When she got to her car, her hands shook so hard she dropped her keys. That night, she didn't sleep beside Deo. She claimed cramps and stayed curled on the couch. But her thoughts weren't on painkillers. They were on the 2 men who claimed to love her in ways that weren't theirs to give. What scared her most wasn't their confessions. It was how much she liked being wanted by all 3. The next morning, a box of roses was waiting on her boutique table. No card. But she knew Deji's handwriting on the note tucked inside. For the woman who taught me patience and made me crave sin. She didn't know which part to tear up first, the note or herself. The boutique was quiet. Rain tapped softly against the windows as Lara rearranged mannequins in silence, her mind a jumbled storm of guilt and craving. Then the bell above the door jingled. Deo walked in. Not with flowers, not with smiles, but with silence. He looked around like he didn't recognize the place, like he didn't recognize her. His eyes stopped on the roses, still sitting in the vase behind the counter. Lara followed his gaze. They're from a vendor, she lied quickly. Promo gifts. He said nothing. Then calmly, too calmly, he asked, Were you with Deji last night? Her mouth opened. Yes, but... His nod sliced through her like a razor. I thought so. He posted a picture. Your bracelet was on his couch. Lara gasped. It's not what you think, Deo. I didn't, nothing happened. But something almost did, right? His voice cracked slightly, the only sign of the pain he was holding back. She stepped out from behind the counter, reaching for him. Please believe me. I'd never cheat on you. He flinched at her touch. Not physically, maybe, but emotionally. You've cheated 100 times. That night, they sat at opposite ends of their bed. Deo stared at the ceiling while Laura tried not to cry. She wanted to scream, to explain, to beg. But what could she say? That she liked the attention. That she'd grown addicted to being desired. That somewhere along the way, being loved by one man didn't feel like enough. Instead, she whispered, I don't want to lose you. And he replied, then stop risking me. The next day, Tony called. I heard you and Deo had a fight. Laura sighed. You and Deji are making everything worse. No, Tony said, his voice sharp. You are. You let us get this close. You let the flirting happen. You never said no. Silence. Then softer he added. I love you. I always have. But I can't keep pretending I'm just your friend when I'm dreaming of you every night. Lara's throat tightened. Then maybe we shouldn't talk anymore. He was quiet for a beat. You say that now. But you'll miss me. Just like you missed what we could have been. He hung up. That night, Lara sat in her car outside her apartment, staring at the steering wheel. Deo hadn't come home yet. He felt hollow, guilty. But somewhere inside, a shameful part of her missed Tony's voice already. The truth was this. She loved Deo. But she needed the thrill Tony and Deji gave her. And maybe, just maybe, she wasn't ready to choose. It was a Saturday, rainy, warm, Lego sleepy. Deo hadn't been home in 2 nights. He claimed he needed space. Lara didn't argue. What was there to fight for when your hands were already stained? She sat by her vanity, staring at her reflection. Her eyes looked older. Her lips chapped. Her skin didn't glow like it used to. For once, she didn't want a man to touch her. She wanted one to forgive her. Her phone lit up. It was Deji. Deji. Can we talk? Please. I'll come to you. She hesitated. Lara. No. I'm not in the right space. Deji. I'll wait in your compound. I'm not leaving until you come out. A few hours later, she found herself on the balcony, looking down. Deji stood there, soaked in rain, holding a steaming paper bag. She came down. Not for him. For closure. That's what she told herself. They sat in her living room. He handed her suya and zobo, her favorite combo since university. The smell alone softened her spine. I'm sorry, he said, watching her closely. I crossed a line. You don't deserve that. She nodded. You didn't just cross it. You danced on it. He chuckled softly. You always said you liked men who dance. She didn't laugh. I miss when we were just pure, she whispered. We were never pure, he said. We were just pretending. Lara turned to him, surprised. You think I watched you fall in love with someone else and didn't feel something? He asked, voice low. You think I held you all those nights and didn't crave to taste your mouth? Silence. You called me your safe space, Lara. But you used me like a maybe. Her throat caught. That's not true. It is. And I let it happen. 'Cause I was weak for you. Still am. Deji leaned in, slowly, daringly. And for one terrifying second she didn't move. His breath brushed her lips. Then she stood. You need to leave. He looked at her with wet, broken eyes. You won't pick me. But you won't let me go either. That's cruel, Lara. The door slammed behind him. And Lara fell to her knees. Not because she wanted Deji. But because he was right. That night Deo returned. He didn't speak. Just walked into the bedroom, removed his jacket, and sat at the edge of the bed. She stood in the doorway, trembling. Where were you? She asked softly. He looked over his shoulder. Out. Thinking. Making mistakes. Her stomach sank. What do you mean? He turned fully to her. I slept with someone. The world shifted. Tilted. Broke. She ran into the bathroom, vomiting bile and regret. From the other side of the door he said, "I didn't do it to hurt you. I did it to feel something again." Lara cried on the cold floor until morning. Not because Deo cheated, but because now they were finally even. And somehow that made everything worse. Click on the subscribe button and watch out for part 2.